Good morning, dear students. So let's start with the today's Google Classroom. So today's Google Classroom is about the paper Physical Chemistry. Paper number is 8, and the chapter we are to discuss today is Unit number 2, Thermodynamics second. And the topic we are to discuss today are second law of thermodynamics and need for the second law of the thermodynamics. So the laws of thermodynamics describe the relationship between the internal energy or the heat and the other forms of the energy and how energy affects the matter. The law gives a relationship of the thermal energy, heat and the other forms of the energy, and the energy affects the how the energy affects the matters. So in a previous Google Classroom, we have already studied that what is the first law of the thermodynamic. That is, first law of thermodynamics states that energy cannot be created or be destroyed. The total quantity of the energy in the universe stays the same. So same, what is the second law of the thermodynamics? So the second law of the thermodynamics is about the quality of the energy. It states that as the energy is transferred or the transformed, more and more of it was wasted. The second law is also states that there is a natural tendency of the any isolated system to degenerate into the more disordered state. So these are the various statements about this second law of the thermodynamics. Again, what is the second law of thermodynamics states that when the energy changes from the one form to the another form, or the matter moves freely, entropy in a closed system increases. Differences in the temperature, pressure, and the density tend to even out horizontally after the while. Due to the force of gravity, density and the pressure do not even out vertically. Density and the pressure on the bottom will be the more than it at the top. Entropy is a measure of the spread of the matter and the energy to everywhere they have to the access. So the most common statement about this second law of the thermodynamic is that it is impossible to construct device that produces no other effect than the transfer of the heat from the lower temperature body to the higher temperature body. So these are the various statements about the second law of the thermodynamics. So second law of thermodynamics it applies to the large systems only is also the about the likely to behavior of the system where no energy of the matter gets in or the out. The bigger the system is, more likely the second law will be the true. So this second law of thermodynamics is also explained in the these two by using these two slides by the point to point. That is, heat can be completely converted into the work in a single process. So this is the first point. Then, but in continuous conversion of the heat into the work requires the cyclic process. All attempts to construct the heat engine that is 100% efficient have failed. The Kelvin-Planck statement of the second law of thermodynamics is qualitative statement of the impossibility of certain types of the process. Again, the second law of thermodynamics that is gives the more information about thermodynamic process. Heat cannot flow itself from the colder body to the hotter body. The second law is also used to determine the theoretical limits of for the performance of the mostly used engineering systems like heat engines and heat pump. Thank you.